All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Rokket Hideout podcast. So that's something we were going to do on a weekly basis, hopefully, or at least whenever something is worth talking about. So I will quickly introduce our members or our friends which came along. So we got first in the upper left, we got Michael.
Hello.
Okay, then we got
I'm Michael, and I like Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
That's fun. Up right, we got Amai.
Well, I'm Amai, and I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I'm here anyway.
Sure.
That's good.
If I would see your performance on Orlando, I would do too. To be honest, so I'm gonna lie. So
Yeah.
we got next.
Think about I was talking to Felix about it. I was like, I think I'm switching to Lokan.
Yeah. Fair. Look,
That's
sounds
better.
nice. Sounds nice. Yeah. Then we got Danilo, our Italian bum.
I just say tamales, bro.
It's fair. And then we got Felix, Drizzle, 60 card voodoo magician, bro.
Yes, I love tier. I love 60 cards. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm the one who loves tier the most, so shut up.
All right. I mean, that's a debate
If
we
it's,
have
not
to.
if it's not 60 cards, is it even tier at that point?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
That's fair.
We gotta make it a whole episode. That's like a whole different topic.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first episode would basically.
Who are you?
Oh, who am I? I'm just a bum who also is in here. My name is Keanu, and I don't have any premier top, so I got nothing to say. So that's it.
Hey, that's crazy. I also
You're a content creator for like a website, right? I've seen you
For
before.
like a website? That's crazy. No. So basically what we're going to talk about, Amai just freshly came out of a YCS Orlando, and I think this is the first perfect topic for our first episode, and how it maybe impacts the YCS Birmingham, which is coming up. I think, Danilo, you are playing, right?
Yes, that's moment. But yeah,
So, and a couple of other members in here, they also play. So we will talk about how it may impact the meta and what we expected. So, guys, what is your thoughts going into the weekend? What did you expect? Was there anything which you were very sure about? Everything else. So just give me your thoughts on that.
I was very positive about there being like a disproportionate amount of like Ryzeal Fiendsmith or Ryzeal in general compared to everything else. I was pretty correct about that. I did think there was going to be less Malice representation than there was.
Mhm.
I thought I think Malice was definitely like the better like secondary, like the second place best deck, but I did think that like Ryzeal Mitsurugi was going to be like more played than Malice.
Was
so
it?
I think like later, no, it definitely wasn't. Because I have the pie chart pulled up. It was like almost 50% Ryzeal. Like it was 29 Ryzeal, 19 Malice, and then the rest were like
that's in top cut. Do we
Yeah, and
do we have
top that and
do we have the
actual.
pie chart for like the actual like everyone?
No, only the European YCS have like a full breakdown.
Yeah, I don't think we get like a full breakdown like that. But yeah, so I was expecting a lot, and then like very close to like when we were like getting ready to like leave and stuff, like the week of, there's like a lot of people that were like trying to get on Malice. Like DB Grinder was like asking for like Malice lines and shit like that. Like everyone kind of like slowly started to realize how like oppressive and like, I don't want to say unfun, but like some people might say unfun. Danilo probably would, but it is definitely like very oppressive and like how it interacts with the rest of the meta. Where like the Ryzeal deck, it's very like rock paper scissory. Like I think like Malice beats like Ryzeal Fiendsmith, and then like Ryzeal Mitsurugi beats Ryzeal Fiendsmith, and like so on and so forth. So shit like that. It felt very like Pokemon starter, like grass, fire, water type thing.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also.
so that was my expectation. Got it.
Yeah, it was basically the same for me. So I thought that Malice was a lot, or is still better positioned than the Ryzeal decks, in my opinion, because I think the ability to be able to play Shifter and Dominus Impulse, which are very, very niche cards, which also have very, very niche interactions, is only for this deck. You can't play Shifter in Rise of Fiendsmith. You can't play Dominus Impulse in either Fiendsmith deck. And I think these cards specifically also paired very well against like the new decks, right? Shifter just basically, if you Shifter at the right time, you completely shut down Rise of Fiendsmith at some point, and like being able to just like flat out negate the Mitsurugi ritual spell with Impulse is something only Malice can do. And I mean, you had shown me
Mermaid.
Oh, Mermail, yeah, true. That's also a good point. But that deck is a myth to me, anyway. So I don't know. But I think like after you showed me your approach, Emma, I think it's what we come down to the episode later. What you played and what your approach was. That completely convinced me that Malus would have been like the best pick, and it's the same for me for Birmingham, at least in my eyes.
So my impression was like the exact opposite, right? Like I thought for like Orlando itself, people would switch off of like more Rise of Fiendsmith and go more towards Malice or something else that beats Malice, like Merman or whatever. Because like the deck is super beatable. Like if you build your deck for exactly Rise of Fiendsmith, you lose to the other decks, right? So I expect like to be the other way around. Whereas not as a lot of people are playing that deck, but more ways to counter it. And that's gonna like show in the top cut that apparently didn't, right? I don't think people like played Malice enough to perform well. Because the deck's like semi-complicated, right? Because if you played Rise of Fiendsmith the entire format, you cannot pick the deck up like a week or whatever.
Nah.
Like, you still make like infinite mistakes. So that's probably one of the reasons why people chose the other decks over. But I definitely thought there would be more Malice for sure.
You thought there would be more Malice even.
Oh.
Yeah,
and more pure Rizal, unironically. I think that deck has a pretty good matchup into Fiendsmith too. And the deck's
there was like a decent amount of like pure Rizal.
Yeah, the deck's good, but I don't know.
I think it's definitely undervalued. Like I think we're underrated for sure. Like I think the deck is scary because it has like infinite pushes. It feels like when you play against it, right? Because every name is basically a starter, and the more they have, the more they can push through it. But for me, also, I have the feeling that America specifically is super Rizio pilled for some reason. Like you saw that as like also in I think a top cut, right? Like 50% is a lot, and I don't know if this specifically speaks that Rizio is such a good deck. I think it's more like that many people are just picked up Rizio for this event.
Rise is also super easy. Like you cannot make mistakes on it. Like it's so hard to find a bad line, right? People still do, like even on feature.
We had that discussion with a few friends before, like comparing US and the EU events, and I think it was pretty correct that in the US events they more play like the meta deck. And I think when we talk later about Birmingham, I think a lot more people gonna try to beat the meta, trying to find like answers to the Rizal deck or trying to find answers to Mets, like countering it. That's also what we saw like in the last format when we saw like at Bologna was like still fire format and tempo format, but almost none of those decks topped. Everybody played like counter decks like the Kush Fiendsmith or like Ritual Beast, and in the US you had like 50% fire decks in top cut.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think for Birmingham, especially like being so close to like Orlando finishing, if you look at like all the deck lists that are currently out for like YCS Top Cut like of Orlando, there's a lot of Bistials, there's a lot of Metaltronus. I think like now more than like for Orlando, you can definitely metagame for like more so to like tech out for what people are expected to play. Than you could for like Orlando, just because there wasn't like, obviously that was like the first premier event for Supreme Darkness, so we didn't know like how everyone was gonna like build their decks, but we had like a general idea of what like we wanted to play. Like we knew Bistials were good, we knew like Metaltronus was insane. That was like the number one tech card of like the entire top cut. So now it's gonna be like, for Birmingham, it's now how do you like approach that? So like obviously Metaltronus is not even like a concern for you really, and like if you're playing like Mermail, for example.
I mean, you can summon either Agar the Lizard or Zorabis Dweller to the Neptabis or some niche spots because either Watery Thunder or Water Sea Serpent. But
and you do
not
that
as
for
good, obviously, because you don't just rip out a detonator for free.
Yeah. No, I think
because
that's
I did that versus like Crystron as well, because that's like that was my Crystron target for Metaltronus. It was Haggard Lizardos on Tristaros or whatever.
that's
and
crazy.
I came up once, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do it on Prince, but it's like it feels like at that point it becomes just like barely usable. Yeah, it's barely usable.
And before we like discuss the meta calls or whatever, just let's get every like perspective on the format first. I think Danilo and Felix haven't like talked about it yet.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I mean, I don't really know much because I chose to go to the YCS like 2 days ago, and I have not decided my deck. I just know what I really don't want to play against. But it being a UK YCS, I expect a lot of locals and not so many. I don't want to say good players, just above average players, so like people that usually travel to go due to like either passport that people don't want to do or just a lot of exams in this period with the university and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people that are just not gonna show up.
Yeah.
Which means if you want to make a meta call for winning the event, sure, it's just the same. You just try to win your way like through the first half of Swiss into like the local players that play like whatever deck they like. And then you just play the good players and try to beat them. But for this YCS specifically, I feel like if you just play a deck that is decent into everything, it's gonna get you like a lot farther than it's supposed to be. Like it's gonna be a lot easier to top if you just play like a vanilla deck than a meta call.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But
Yeah,
depends.
I think that was also like the
yeah, just want to say that. Yeah, like, it depends what you want to do out of the events. If you want to top or win, it's like a whole different approach you need to take.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much. Yeah,
I'm not trying to get a fucking playmat again, so that's all I'm saying.
Are you trying to get dice, or what's like your goal?
Yeah, so that's like the new goal.
I have qualified for dice, they didn't have them yet. So
the dice are really nice.
Crazy.
Yeah,
the dice are.
I think looking before Orlando, like with Supreme Darkness coming out, I think it was like the first time in like 5 or 6 years that we had like a TCG exclusive archetype that was like competitively viable. So it was like really interesting to see how good Mitsurugi actually is. And like I don't know if it like performed that well in terms of like a conversion rate because we don't know how many people played it. But like getting second place out of nowhere basically is like really, really cool. And I think that's like a big positive thing we can take about Orlando, like in terms of what Konami did was like creating a new archetype.
Yeah, I'm already super excited what they cook up with the next set for sure, because then we get the second wave of support.
Yeah, on the topic of Mitsurugi, I just personally think it's a deck that doesn't have any purpose, and by that I mean I don't say it's bad because it's clearly like a good deck that is gonna do really well. But to me, there is no reason to play it because if you want to play a good Ryzeul deck, you can either play Pure, which is like a crazy good pick right now for how the meta is positioned, or if you want to play like a Glass Cannon, very high rolly deck, you just play Malice because just shifted everyone. So I don't see a reason why you would want to play a deck like that. It's like playing a combo deck when it's not the best combo deck, and it gets hit by every popular card anyways. So the deck is still good, but to me it has no reason to play it.
I also don't know how much people know where to interact with Mitsurugi, because it's also like depending on the pilot, right? You might want to stop the dual drive. Most likely you try to, right? Because you never know, like if they have the spell already. I personally always tend to like hand trap a way to a spell, but you just get super punished if they have the spell already, and you let like the Feral Imps resolve and everything else. So it's like very hard to telegraph how the opponent's gonna play, which I think is for the most part the most annoying thing about playing against the deck. Is like you don't know what their hand is. And the thing is, they have so many pushes because they can basically just start with X, and X is like very, very powerful. And then they do all their bougie plays, and you don't really know while playing what to really focus on. Because if you only try to hit the Mitsurugi cards, which you probably maybe should, well, there's probably then still Detonator and the Field Spell to out, right? And which is also already not easy. I think that's like the most.
One.
Thing, yeah.
One thing we can add here, like in terms of interrupting, what maybe not everybody knows, that you should like interrupt or like negate the King of Fairy Limbs on summon, because if you wait for like the effect with like the Imperm or Veiler or shit, then if they chain Mitsurugi prayers, then they still get like the surge and the additional effect. So yeah, if you play against that deck and you don't know where to interrupt it, always Imperm Veiler the King of Fairy Limbs on summon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think it's like, I think that's like the most basic one that people know of, like just from like watching like DB grinding and stuff like that. I think like most of the times you can usually get a read on, like if you know how that deck functions, you can like get a read on exactly what like cards are in their hand almost. Whereas like if they go like if their first rank 4 is like duo drive, then you might already read they have like some like form of the ritual engine, like they might have a normal summon Saji, or they might have like prayers or something like that. So there is definitely like things that you can do, like if you know that deck, to like kind of hand trap like at least one of the engines out. But it is definitely hard because like if you stop one, then you're probably just dealing with the other, and the other one is already super good. So I do think it has an issue like post side versus all the Ryzeal decks, and into Top Cut is what I was like mainly like. It wasn't really a concern for me because it was never a consideration to play that deck for me. But like I would, if I was playing that deck, my concern would be like if I got into Top Cut, every Ryzeal person is just going to just make Dweller against me, and then I automatically am playing with like half the cards left in my deck. So
exactly. I think it's a fair point to just say, okay, going second, I'll just side out all the Mitsurugi stuff, right? I mean, that's probably what you should do. But like in Top Cut, everyone knows your deck, so you just get hit by that first action game 1, and I don't know how you win from there on. I think that's very difficult. Specifically,
I think I was hearing Triff, like Triff was siding out like most of his Mitsurugi engine, I think.
Yeah, I would do too.
That's what
my deck becomes pure.
You could go like it.
I think you have to win it out always with the deck, especially in Top Cut. It's so weird. It's like one of the ways to like dodge Dweller, right?
And I think that's the advantage of Malice, really, right? Because you can build your Malice deck. I think that's what you did, Amai, pretty much, which I felt personally, that the chance of winning game 1 with a good Malice list is pretty high, because like there ain't no Lancia.
Yeah.
There ain't no Lancia in game 1, and there won't be. But because even if the opponent knows my deck, like there can't be a Lancia unless they main decked Lancia for 12 rounds of Swiss. I don't know. But for this deck, right, Dweller is probably in everyone's Rising extra deck. So, and if they know what you're on, you will get hit by that. And I think that's also like an advantage already for Malice. But yeah, I think it was interesting to see the deck play, specifically on stream. I think the second place guy, I think it was Benjamin was his name. He was nice with the deck for sure. I thought, he was definitely not bad. He did some moves specifically with the trap, which I thought was kind of nice. So I think the deck definitely has potential. But what I'm worrying about the most is like you can only fit like 59 engine slots really, and I don't know if that's enough. And I don't think you're like maybe game 1 it's enough if you resolve like an Amno going second. But other than that, I think it's rough, and that really bothers me about the deck. That's like only 15 non-engine slots can only fit there. So
or you can play 60 cards and play more.
Yeah, you can do that, right? Yeah, that's true. That's true. How can
you can play some Octo-Odic cards, you can resolve Snake Rain. There's a lot of fun stuff to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. There always is.
Yeah, that was like the most elaborate like gaslight I think I've ever seen in recent memory.
Thrust for it. Thrust for Snake Rain. Gotta be insane. Like you send like 5
I definitely do things like. Yeah, I definitely do think like everyone's like I don't want to say everyone because I haven't looked at all the Mitsurugi decks, but I think most of them did switch to like a hand trap approach because just like playing breakers and like the Swiss format is like into Top Cut as well is fucking so terrible.
Yeah.
And somehow like the first 2 people after Swiss like both were like pure Ryzeal and they played breakers. So shout out to Santoli who somehow managed to make breakers work.
I still want to see his list.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine for that deck because it doesn't really matter.
Breakers and
the list is not like it's like 6 hand traps and 15 breakers.
And it's still a kind of a combination.
What was this
Yeah, it's
matchup
around-
spread?
Yeah.
What matchups did you play with? Like how much malice?
I would be concerned if I was roosing a lot of malice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that works if you play only versus like Ryza variants, something like that. But against malice, I don't think that works.
Even versus Mitsurugi, I would definitely not want to like versus Mitsurugi with all breakers. That sounds insane.
Well, I mean, it depends on like how they built the deck, but it's a rough.
Maybe let's talk about the quote-unquote star of the event, right? I mean, I think Amaya already mentioned it. I think that Metaltronus finally took full swing, I feel like, right? I think I never saw that many main deck Metaltronus as in Orlando, which I think is correct. I think that card is insane, personally. I think
We were
the card is
about to
crazy.
main it for Euros this year, remember that?
Oh,
I
true.
also played
Yeah.
for-
I
I
remember
really
that.
liked it
Yeah,
back then.
I remember
that
Also
too.
pushed me off a bit, but
Yeah. I think that card is nice. I also played a regional with Amai's list basically on this weekend, and I played so many interesting stuff with Metaltronus. Like I was basically figuring out on the fly. Like for example,
Yeah, you just have to like do the brain math in your head. Like,
Yeah.
what matches up with the Metaltronus.
yeah, I think like the craziest thing was in the mirror. I played Malice in the Malice mirror. I didn't open Engine, but I did open TB11. So
You summon a name.
I Metal.
You just summon a name and then you vanish.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. Or the other thing was, I Metaltronus summoned Cryptor into a zone it points to, and then it was live.
Yeah.
That's also like that's
Amazing.
insane. That's so cool. That's so sick. That you can do it.
There's a lot of like cool things that you could do with that.
Yeah,
I really like that.
yeah.
I was very happy playing. It went like it was like pretty ridiculous every time I drew it. It felt like really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also putting it in the main deck, right? I think made a lot of sense, specifically in Malice, because it acts like a solemn strike for going first, which
it's literally Gamma.
it's Gamma, yeah, it's basically Gamma, yeah.
It is very
It's a hashable and yeah.
Yeah, true. It is basically Gamma, yeah. No, but I think like
Which
no, go
I
ahead.
think is a turn-off for some people that is a really crucial card to resolve, and it loses to Ash Blossom, which you may even consider if your deck gets already hit by Ash, so they want your opponent to like really value if they want to Ash Metaltronus or not, or if your deck is like Amai's just doesn't get Ashed at all, so they always just Ash the Metaltronus.
That was something I was like considering. It's because like Ash is like very poor into my deck in general. So like I never check for Ash just with like Engine. Not that you would like usually play first and then Metaltronus. Metaltronus is usually like the first thing that you could do. But you could do things where it's like if your Fulo, because I main Fulo, so if your Fulo's resolved, then you know like your Metaltronus is going to resolve pretty much. And so like Crush Druid somehow or whatever. If they even like did all that. But that is something that I was like considering, because like that's like the entire reason why like I didn't want to play Fiendsmith cards, because you're putting like cards in your deck that like open you up to weaknesses that like if you just played the other version of the deck it didn't have. Like if I was playing like Malice Fiendsmith, like my deck is getting hit by like everyone's like 7 Bystials in the main or whatever, or whatever they're playing. So it just felt forward into that.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, to be honest. Like it's literally the same for me. Like while I think the Malice Fiendsmith variant is like fine and cool and all, you can do cool stuff, specifically with a bow. A bow is a lot more easier to go for in this deck, obviously. But like I think all the issues you just mentioned, they were just too much. Which basically leaves us to the next point. Is like, what did you play, Amayo? How was your event? How did it went down? Anything crazy?
I hope I have it pulled up. I should be able to share my screen and it'll pop up real quick, so we can go over my exact Malice list.
Yeah, that should be good. Yep.
Let me close some tabs here. So if we put that up. So this was the final list that I ended up playing. The only thing that felt kind of weird for me is the 2 meows that I put in just to have like extra coverage into the mirror, because my number one concern was the mirror match. I was very concerned with like playing the mirror because it felt very like high rolly and like it was very die roll dependent. It was very opening hand dependent. Yeah, so that's like, I mean, like for mine, that's why like I definitely like co-signed the idea of like main deck impulse, main deck Metaltronus, because those are some like of the cards that are very decent into Malice, specifically game one. Same thing with the Fulos, because some people don't main deck like the Mulch Armies and Malice. I think I would really like it, because if I was playing like the 10 Bastille approach or whatever, then I would feel like kind of weird, like having that many Bastilles against a matchup that's not like very good against. So I was very happy with the main deck. I was pretty much sold on this main deck like weeks before I even like submitted this list. Like it almost never changed because it felt like so clean. I think my win percentage of like game ones was like 7 out of 8. So I think I only lost one game one, and I lost like 99% of my die rolls. I won literally one die roll out of 8. So I was going second the majority of time, and most of the time I still was able to win game one, just because it was such like a very teched out list for going first game one. Shifter, you could argue that you would like play that to further your odds of winning game one, but it still felt like very bad into the mirror. It felt weird into the different Ryzeal variants, because one variant you want to like hold till they make either Exciton Knight, or if they like cut Exciton Knight, wait till they make Moon, and they still can't really do anything past that point. But then versus like Mitsurugi, you want to like, and by that extension, like literally any other rogue deck, you would usually want a shotgun Shifter, just so you like stop any kind of like advantage that they would get. But they're like those things kind of mixed together. I don't want to like one depend on like my opponent, like if they're playing correctly. I don't want to like depend on my opponent playing like a certain deck. So I thought it was very like easy to just side deck instead. So my main deck felt good. I didn't play Allure or anything like that, because I felt like you really do just need to maximize your amount of like chances to win game one. You can't really afford to play that many like consistency cards. Even though that Allure is like a pretty decent consistency card, it's like the only one that I would play, just because in like this mixed approach of hand trap and breaker, you can draw into those like additional cards that are like good going second. Like you could draw into a Bastille, you could draw into Metaltronus, you could draw into Impulse, Infirm, whatever. So those are good, but they definitely did have like times where it's like I would rather this be like any other hand trap, and also just like any other card in general where I don't have like a name in hand. Like then it kind of feels weird if I have just like a Bastille, or just like I don't have any darks in hand, and then I'm just like literally die rolling. Going first too, it's like kind of weird if you don't end up using it. Like if you draw into it and then you don't have a dark in hand at like the end of your combo, then you can't, like it's just kind of like dead in your hand, because you don't want to discard the rest of your hand traps just to like try to see a Bastille or whatever. So decided not to play Allure. My side deck, the cards that are like, I'm gonna try to group them all together, but like these cards like were 100% going in my deck list: the Lancia, Shifter, Crossout, Callby. So I was really just debating on the last 5 slots, really. I went with Cherries because going first and second versus Ryzeal Fiendsmith, which I expected there to be a disproportionate amount of, and pure Ryzeal to that like same vein, because it's even better versus that deck than it is Fiendsmith Ryzeal, obviously, because they literally have no supplemental engine, so it just like FTKs them. It was very good because even if you do get Lancia post side, then if you drop Cherries on them, then if it's paired with any other like Bastille, for example, to cut off the Fiendsmith engine for the rest of the game, it's super hard for them to like make a convincing push to like kill you without like detonator, or
they can do nothing.
Set up or to stop your crackback. Like all the max that they can end on is literally just like cross negate, and that's like basically through it.
Yeah.
So it's very strong in that regard. I didn't put it in against any other matchup besides Fiendsmith Ryzeal. I didn't verse any pure Ryzeal, but I would have also put it in versus that. The reason you wouldn't put it in against Mitsurugi is because obviously they have the other half of their engine that's super threatening, so I can't really put it in versus that. And then Malice, I also didn't put it in because there's like too many lines that if you are good with the deck, it literally doesn't do anything. It just kind of forces you to play like a weird combo. It can be. I was thinking about it because it can be like situationally good if you like are versing a worse mouse opponent where they go for a very like telegraphed line that's like bad into like cherry specifically. Like if they have the extender but they go into like a link 2 first for some reason instead of just like hard making the link 3, then they can get punished by cherries a lot easier. But I didn't want to like it goes to the same thing. I didn't want to like bank on my opponent doing like something incorrect or doing something different for my like non-engine to be effective.
Yeah.
But cherries felt insane. Whenever it resolved, except one time, I was versing Bisteel, Fiendsmith Mouse, or not Mouse, sorry, Bisteel, Fiendsmith Ryzeal. And he put Regained on the board.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't cherries him at that point. I was kind of cooked. So that was the only time where it didn't like go insanely hard. But otherwise, I was very happy with that card. And then the Meows, it was too droll, but again, I just wanted more cards for the mirror. I was super scared of that deck. I never seen it, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
I had on the same day, and I played Meows. For me, was very bad. Like, I think I always rather playing Chaos Hunter and like banking my opponent to are you playing the Cerberus or not? And that's about it. I just think it does more consistently what you want. That's a lot to do.
Yeah, because that's also.
I agree with Danilo there big time. I think Chaos Hunter is like crazy against Malice, all kind of Malice. So that's definitely a card.
It's good as also 6th card to be drawn, which is also something that Meows isn't. And that's added value.
Yeah, no,
I usually play Phantasma instead of that. I don't know. The card digs into more monsters.
Yeah, but it's not like it doesn't do anything specifically. Just we get card advantage. Then what? Like it doesn't address the issue that you're trying to address with this ice a lot.
I mean, it can't get out. Like you can Phantasma, draw 2 Lancia. It's like cool.
Okay. If you're Italian, it may work.
I think it's also
increasing your chances.
Like if the first link they're summoning is like Binder, then
I think it never is, right?
I mean, you can usually like even if they do that line, they almost always like summon at least like 2 link monsters on board, right? Because even if they go like Decoder first, and they go like Binder, and then Decoder resummons, and then you just Phantasma on the Decoder summon, so then you're still drawing. You're drawing like 3, right, and then putting back 2 or whatever. So
I mean, you still get that. Phantasma is a good card for sure.
I know Jip played it.
It's like the advantage of being like flexible. Like Meows is only good going second, but you can side deck cards like Phantasma or like Chaos Hunter even more like on top of your board.
6th card.
Yeah. So even if they forget you, if they shifter you, if they have like 2 Charmies or something, and you need to pass on like a half board or on nothing, the Chaos Hunter can save your ass, and Meows most likely is not going to do that.
Yeah. You got to think a lot of how Meows gonna stop them.
Yeah. Because even like there was a couple of times where like I don't think at the YCS, but like in testing for the YCS, where I would get like either Mulch Army, then like I was able to like kill them because like the turn had already passed through whatever, and I would just play into it because like I'm just gonna kill you in like 5 or 6 summons like underneath it. That'd be completely fine. So I would definitely play into the Mulch Armies at that point. Chaos Hunter is interesting. I was thinking about like Cerberus, just because I think it was Felix that was talking about like Chaos Hunter at an event prior to this, like a little while ago, and that did make me like kind of worried about it. But I honestly didn't think there would be like that many people that tuned in to like that tech. So I didn't feel like I wanted it. Yeah. Because that was like the most like obvious, like with the new set releasing, that was like the most obvious like inclusion for Mouse specifically, and it was really like deciding if I want to like cut that card for like the very small amount of people that are like playing Chaos Hunter over like just the guaranteed utility I would have from like Nightmare Phoenix, Lingaribo, like any of the other flex spots that are in my deck. And again, it was just like trying to remove as many like variables from like what people can play and what people will do from my deck building as possible, so I don't have to like kind of guess what they're gonna like play and do.
I think one thing I want to address on is something I noticed. I think no one is doing really, because I played the same list at the regional, right? So I basically stole your homework. Instead of the meows, I played roll, which was fine. I never drew it, so doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
for me, it was a very, like, I saw that in Jeff Jones' list, for example. I was very, very surprised that there wasn't a crossout or a call by in a side deck. And then I started to also talk to some friends, and I think no one is siding crossout going second, which I don't know if that's correct, because I think for me, of course, it's super sacky, like, of course it is, but I think if you like, for me, it came up like thrice, like 3 times, that I just cross outed the Lancia going second, and that shit was a wrap. Like two hand traps into my opponent, I passed on a half board, won this Lancia me and draw face, cross out, and then he was out of there. Which I think, based on the starting patterns, I think you can do, right? I think it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
All the cards you probably do side out is what you would do anyways, at least for my part. Like, you cut some names, you cut some field spells and all that, yada yada yada. I think that's what you would do anyways. But I don't know if people are actually on that yet, or if they don't do it. Like, I think.
Why I really like crossout, because along with my like fear of the mirror match, like it also doubled as like mirror match coverage for me, whereas like something like thrust is not really like good. It's just, like, I would never put that card in like going second into the mirror. But like crossout, for example, is something that I would like always put in the mirror, because that can always like trade with something that like has value, like either MTP or just like if you get into a back and forth, it's basically just like a copy of Metaltronus almost. So it felt very good, and you're not even like putting bad cards in your deck at that point, because you're just putting 3 Lancia anyway, so it's already in your deck.
Yeah.
So it felt very good for that. Going second, I would put it in versus like any of the Rise Heal variants except Mitsurugi. That's the only time I wouldn't side it in, just because there is so much like there's so much like that they can do for their turn that you can't really afford to like play like a Lancia out. You just have to like hope to stop them, and if they have Lancia, then it sucks to suck at that point.
They might do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was happy with the crossout.
No, me as well. Like, I think I can just tell you again, the list was chef's kiss. I'm very, very sad that you couldn't deliver more results, but I think it was insane. So yeah, I think that brings us to.
I don't blame my list for it.
No, definitely not. The list was creamy for sure. So I think that brings us to what we take out of this. So looking at Orlando and the results, what do you think can we take up for the future, specifically Birmingham? I think the question goes directly to Danilo, who has to play the event.
Something that we might address, the first thing for sure that we need to talk about is Crazy Feast, because that's public knowledge right now.
Is it though?
We need to talk about it. Like,
I mean, okay, sure.
That card is something. Which I think I don't know if he's gonna.
So maybe someone
can for this YCS, but people being aware of it like makes a whole dynamic, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe someone can pull up
for the that's what I was just. So for the uninformed, that does not know what this card does. So it is a rank 6 that takes 2+ level 6 monsters. So in the context of Malice, you would use just 2 Bestials for this. And it says once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 spell, your trap on the field, detach 2 materials from a monster or monsters on the field. Doesn't have
emphasis
to be
on the
monsters you control. Yeah, it can be any monster on the field. As effect, it's not a cost or anything. That would be even more insane. And then you attach that target to this card as material. So you basically you force them to negate that with cross 100% of the time. And that is also not a once per turn.
Which is crazy.
Going further down.
If they're gonna major pop, you can just revive it again, because as a secret effect, it just summons itself back once per duel.
Mm-hmm. And the second effect is if a monster or monsters you control will be destroyed by card effect, you can detach 1 material from this card instead. So if you're trying to play, you could literally just summon this crazy beast, and then you could just start playing under the detonator after you already like used its effect, they cross negated or whatever, then you still have 2 pop protections just off this card. That's also not once per turn. And then you also have the other effect. If this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then you can attach 1 goblin monster from your graveyard to this card as material. You're not going to have a goblin monster in your graveyard anyway. But the thing with that is, since the first effect isn't once per turn, they cross negate the first one.
Yeah.
And then if you like get rid of it, like link it off, crash it, whatever, detonate or pop it for some reason. I don't know why they would ever do that. But then you just reborn it, and then you do it again. And it's crazy. It is living up to the name. This kind of thing. I didn't know about this prior to the YCS, but I don't think I would change my list to accommodate that, just because it is. I really wouldn't want to play Saronir in my deck, just because it's like even more cards that are bad into the mirror. Which again, I was very scared about that matchup. It's terrible into like Rogue, for example. Like I wouldn't want to have 10 Bestials into my Krish Crown opponent. That would feel pretty bad. But it is definitely a very cool card. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do that like fucking any time during the event. I won 8 die rolls. I was sick.
Yeah. No, well, I think this card is pretty cool. I also thought about how you can incorporate this into the list you played, and I just don't see any cards I would take out. Because like Cherries was also insane for me this weekend, the regional I played. So it was really funny when you like just cherried your Rising opponent and they didn't know it was over, but it was over. It also took some time then for them to
they would play it. Yeah, they would play for a little, and I'm like, I cannot make anything. There is nothing for me to do.
Yeah.
Well, and then the next thing I would be happy to talk about is my regional that I mentioned earlier. So it was not my best performance. I ended up I was 5-2, and then the last round I wasn't gonna top, so I just leave it at that. I decided to play this, which is a pure Ryzium. I'll just turn my screen right now. And I chose to try this deck specifically because it looks very well positioned into like mostly Malice, but it doesn't have any specific counter if you don't want to count like
D-barrier,
which is not a real deck.
D-barrier.
I mean, nobody's playing D-barrier technically.
Technically, yeah.
I got D-barrier once, and I'll tell that story later. But as you see, I'm very big on the cutting as much of the engine, like as much of the bricks that you can from a deck, so there is no plugin, because I think it's a win more card. Like it never came up.
I think with twins you can. I think with twins you can just like safely cut that card from everything.
You definitely cut the card. I think so. Yes.
And you know, it's funny. Like two of my Fiendsmith Ryziel opponents, I literally thought they were on pure because they were playing Fiendsmith Ryziel, but they had plugin in their deck, and I was like, oh my god,
well, that's never
I just got baited.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, I just got baited, but I mean.
The deck itself was good, but I don't think I would want to play it going forward. I might just change my mind because in theory deck is really good, but it gives me no edge. I have no room to like try to maneuver myself out of weird situations because the deck is like very limited plays, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's very low ceiling. It's hard to like play well out of a bad situation.
X is crazy in this deck, which is like really nice to have, but playing no plugin means your X should always send a Duo Drive, because otherwise this gets sealed, and this is not an Imrizio. So not playing Duo Drive means your Duo Drive needs to have 3 materials every time to play safely around it. And that's like makes you having to summon hard the Life Twin, and then you need to send it for like Node effect or like summon the second Ice from hand. That made you like a little bit clunkier. But I wouldn't like change the fact that I wasn't playing the plugin. I just think the deck is weird. It's really good and really bad at the same time. For somebody like maybe has very little testing or like have not played the format much, this deck is probably your best pick by far. Also, Metaltronus with literally strike, so this card is like insane.
Yeah.
Something not common in this deck is like I decided to play a couple Bestials. I was debating playing more, but they just conflict, right? The issue is Magnamut is too good not to be played, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I needed a Chaos Angel out anyways, so it was a good Metaltronus target into like Roguelike Labyrinth with Dark Fiend. You just go either this and a bestial to out stuff, or one time I got debarriered into a Mitsurugi opponent. He just trusts a set debarrier after I like Purulia'd him and detonator, and I go Metaltronus out that, summon ice, summon a guy, search, go for Lizardos, draw a card. I think there was like a nib token, I don't remember correctly, but it was like definitely legal activated. The other Lizardos. Draw a card, desires, draw 2 cards, cross, draw another card, and I go like, I have nothing. I have like 2 level 4s in defense, but I have 10 cards in, and you're not killing me for that, which like worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think there's also something which I really liked about the Malice list was like you had this edge, right? Because of the cherries. I mean, I remember I tested a couple of games with Amai against this list, and I just did not want to play any Ryziel variant against him because like it was just that disgusting. Because the Metaltronus outs your detonator, and your detonator can never get summoned post side anyways. So like it's completely checkmate, and the other one, like the rest of the Malice engine, just checks everything else you're doing. So,
but you need to draw like a bestial like alongside it. Like if you play against Ryziel Fiendsiv and you only have Metaltronus, then you're just losing to Caesar.
I mean, you either need a Veiler.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you need like any other hand trap. It's fine, right? You could like Bestial is like the best pairing, especially with like cherries as well. But like any like combination of like Metaltronus plus something is usually like good enough. Except like, I mean, even Nib works. Like, yeah, Nib is still like insane. The thing like Metaltronus is just like so good because it gives you like another body for like anything basically. If you don't want to like banish whatever you're trying to like target with it, so it was just insane. I know one time I got hit by like Sanctum in the end phase because I had already gotten turn skip by Lancia. I passed back. He didn't play. He did Sanctum in his end phase, and I Metaltronus summoned my Lancia that was in my deck for cross out, and I summoned that, and then they're both permanently negated. So I just got like a free body, and the Lancia that he summoned off Sanctum was, turned off for the entire thing. So that was like pretty cool.
That was
overall it was like
that's actually funny. So yeah, what's our predictions? So we have the Malice thingy on the one side. I'm also on the Malice side. Daniel says pure Rise is a good pick. What do we decide on? Like anything can give what would happen? What do you think will go through? So from my perspective, I
is England just play plants. Just play plants.
Just play plants.
Yeah, it's a UK event. I mean, that's a safe bet. Just play plants.
If you see Jazz or like Marcus Patello or Betty or so, you better run fast, otherwise you're gonna get hit to a slow.
I'm in that control, I don't care. That's what I'm saying.
No. I think personally,
maybe I want to talk.
No, go ahead.
Maybe I want to talk about a completely different deck we didn't talk about yet, because I think that could be like a very good pick. It did perform very good at YCS Orlando, and nobody had it really on the radar, and that's like the poor Bestial Fiendsmith deck. It's basically playing max Bestials, playing like 15 to 18 other hand traps, and only like the Fiendsmith decks and no like real engine. But it feels really like what I played in YCS Bologna and what like the Raid and Trade guide played, the Kash Fiendsmith, but you just changed like the Kashtira cards for the Bestial cards, and you like infinitely trade and grind. So it's like a bit more of a... It doesn't really do anything, but I think it's like really good position into the meta because of like the hand traps. Cards like Ghost Ogre are really good, the Bestials are really good. Yeah, the Malice matchup might be a bit difficult game one.
A little bit, just a little bit. That's just a little bit.
Yeah, I think we saw like 6 people topping at YCS Orlando. I don't think that many people played. So like 6 out of like 8 or 10 people topped. That's I think a pretty good record. And I think that would be my deck I would play for the YCS if I would attempt, but yeah, sadly I can't.
So basically what my big issue with that deck is, and I know it's you can diminish that, but it has just like 10 starters. That's it. And don't tell me about I'm not gonna normal summon a hand trap and summon a bestial to make moon going first. Sorry, I'm not gonna do that. So I know that
you don't need to play like that's a good thing about that. Like if you play bestials, of course, if you open like 5 normal hand traps going first, you pass and you're probably gonna lose the game. But
yes.
I know a lot of the guys who did top, they opened like 2 or 3 bestials going first. They had no offensive cards, so they just passed. and they still won like turn 7 or turn 9.
Yeah,
or
no,
something
I can see
because
that,
they outranked.
but it's like against my
I can
premises.
see that versus like Rizio Fiendsmith. I cannot see you winning that game versus like Mitsurugi, maybe Mitsurugi, depending on the hand traps, but like definitely not Malice. I don't think you're ever gonna get. If
Yeah.
you just like
Eight
hard
Malice.
pass.
I just say one.
I mean, it's gonna be a whole nother topic, right? Post Birmingham might be a next topic about basically discussing
I think
Malice.
I'm gonna say my plan for the next set is gonna be normal summon Palkia and activating Misty. That's it.
On
I
TCG
think
Pocket.
I'm gonna normal summon Mickey Mouse next time.
Get 2 lore, pass.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I agree.
That's how you win the game.
Now, so I think personally Malice is still a really good pick. I think we will see a lot more Talker representation in Europe. I don't know why, but I think like people are actually a little bit more skillful with the deck in Europe. That's what I think.
The deck is brain dead. That's fake. Deck is so easy to play.
Malice?
Yeah.
Nah.
Deck is so straightforward. I'm sorry. The deck is too straightforward.
You can't tell me it's easier than Rizio. Come on.
I didn't see Rizal was hard.
Okay. As long as we
I'm
can
just
agree
saying,
that
Malice-
Rizio is easier than Malice.
But it's like a little bit not on the same like scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will take what I can get.
I'm very more scared than a bad player with Malice than a bad player with Rizal. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, fair enough. So, Amai, what do you think? What's gonna win Birmingham? Or what do you?
Birmingham, I think Malice is still in a good position as we've discussed. I think I would adjust it to more deal with some of the hate that people might be playing for it, like Chaos Hunter. I think if I was playing a YCS post Orlando, I think I would play Nightmare Cerberus, especially in like a European event where it's already like kind of, I don't want to say known, but like definitely more known than it was for like NA, because I wasn't seeing like any player talking about Chaos Hunter at all, really. The only time I would like see it played is in like weird decks like Sprite or something like completely random. But I think I definitely would like tech out cards specifically to beat that. Like in my list, I was like kind of okay with it because it was like at least I had like Metaltronus, which was also count to it. So it wasn't. I wasn't like super
targets for
concerned with it.
Metaltronus.
About.
No, there's like for Chaos Hunter, there's like 1,000. There like any of the Bystials line up with it because it's 2,500 attack. Yeah, it's a 25 dark. So I'm like, yeah, any of the Bystials. Then you have a Bow. Then you have Cryptor, for example. You could summon Cryptor because it's 2,500. So if you needed to like, you could just like make access code with it basically.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I wasn't super scared, but I think I would definitely tech out for that.
You can summon Anguish to make access code using the Chaos Hunter.
Yeah.
That's trolling.
Definitely something.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I would respect that card. I think I would put more hate for Malice like directly instead of just the meows.
Yeah.
So I think after seeing it do well in Top Cut, I think there would be like a decent amount more people playing it.
I also think,
even though it did the event.
Yeah, I also think like Meows and Fuvalos aren't that great, right? Because like if the opponent just passes on IP in a trap, like it's already really, really hard to beat already. So they give you like one draw and you play still against 3 interruptions and 4 cards in hand. So I think that's still a lot.
Follow up.
What do you say?
Yeah, I never
follow up that is not beatable with like common hand traps or bullet states.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't really like. I know it acts like a floodgate, which is fine, right? They will pass on a weaker board, but I don't know if that guarantees you to win. And like one thing was I was also asking myself when we talked about Chaos Hunter, like when you. I mean, in my mind, you won the Italian Open, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, no, but like after you posted the list, I didn't think Chaos Hunter put up that much steam. Like I think people still did not really acknowledge.
Nobody believed in it.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably it. Because
Like, that was crazy for me. That's what I'm saying. That was insane.
yeah, I was really afraid because like I played a regional really close after the Italian Open. I was so afraid of Chaos Center, and no one played it. So I don't know. Maybe it's because of the regional, but maybe also no one believes in it. Yeah. So Michael,
it was
what's
like the same for me. I played like the regional I won like a week after
Yeah.
Danilo won the Italian Open, and it's like basically the same list. Just I played 60 cards, and like every time I summoned Chaos Center, the game was over immediately. I played 3 medals, and 3 times I opened Chaos Center game 2 or drew into it was like a Charmy, and it was over on the spot.
in 60? Let's go.
Yeah. Whereas inversely, I got hit by Fulos a decent amount. I got hit by Meows like once or twice. I never lost any of those games that I got hit with those. Because like I know one game I literally got hit by Fulos, Valor, Meows, Druisworm, Nib,
Oh my god. What?
and I still won that game. So it was pretty crazy. Like being able to like play through that much. So I think like the Moltarmies are good in the sense of like I think Fulos is like a no-brainer just because like 1, it lowers the ceiling of their board, and 2, it gives you like it replaces itself basically. So I think that's like fine. And it's like generically good against like basically everything. So I don't think I would like ever change that. But I definitely do think if you were targeting Malice specifically, you have to accept that you're not getting any matchup coverage with like Meows. And then just like all in on the Chaos Hunter just because that deck is like that obnoxious basically.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Michael, what's your pick?
I agree. I will never say that Malice is not an obnoxious deck, but I will say it's definitely harder than it is to play Rise.
Yeah, fair. So Michael, you want to conclude this discussion?
So my take is on what's gonna win Birmingham.
Yeah, or what do we see as a evolution maybe?
Whatever I play.
True. Are you playing Birmingham?
Malice.
Yo.
Are you
No.
playing Warfare? No. Okay. I think anything that doesn't lose to a Bestial, I think, is a good choice because now everyone's gonna like play like 5,000 Bestials again, right? Because
It's
last week it
single.
worked.
They were
apparently.
gonna play Dark Magician or something, or like Centurion,
That was just
or whatever they play over there.
Yeah.
Plan.
No, yeah, that too. No, I think something in that like regard is a good choice. Something like Crystal maybe. Like obviously it loses to like Lancia, Dweller, and Draw, but it's fine, right? So
Wait,
you
so
could probably. No, it's okay. Like you win against all the Bestial decks, it's fine.
I can tell you that
Against Cole.
even if it didn't top America like Orlando, it will definitely top in Europe. I can guarantee that most likely, to be honest. Like I don't know. I think
I don't know.
I think that was Mermail. If we were talking about that.
no. I was for me,
Mermail is definitely the better version of it.
yeah, no, but
Yeah,
for me it was
something
Christian.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think Crystal is good.
I just hope that people realize they shouldn't play Molinglacia soon enough. Fuck that card.
Damn.
Do people not play that card? Am I behind the curve on my
Yeah.
non-existent Mermail theory?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You're behind, bro. You're
It's a
behind.
break, man. It's a break.
The brick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sums up pretty much the first episode of our podcast. I think next week we'll basically see if we were right and what kind of evolutions we saw from the players and how they adapt. And then I think we can also look into the future. So Lions Insight just hit the OCG. We got some first tournament results. We basically maybe look at them. And yeah, basically everything else which moves forward. Oh, next week we also have the Blue Eyes release, right? That will be also fun. Maybe we can talk about this again.
Thank God.
Nobody's playing that.
No, I'm saying that. Fuck that. That's so cool.
So I
You're
think,
just broke.
I'm trying to. I'm like coping at this point. But I'm really
to be honest, I
You're
don't think you can
that's
call
the
so.
opposite of broke. The deck is like hella expensive.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, well, you're not broke if you play a deck, bro. You're like
Nah, Michael is the kind of guy that bought the like stuff like 17 months ago because he saw it on like 2 likes post on Reddit about OCG tournaments.
Yeah, when Lonely Lot was like
Oh.
€3 and now it's €50.
I pulled like 4 lonely loads. I didn't buy it.
That's
ever.
crazy.
And I bought the Dragon, the new one, for like 20 each. So that's like good. It's like 30 now, I think.
Yeah, I wanna die.
Which one?
To be honest.
And
I'm not playing that
The
deck.
barrel.
Cipher I also
Really
bought for
bad
like €5 or so.
Hey, you're nice. You're
The
nice.
card's like the card's like 25 and a half too. Like I have everything for a deck. I'm gonna try it. I really want it to work, but let's see. I still have Raizo too, so it's like,
Yeah.
let's see.
Okay.
I
Can we
think there's
talk
definitely
about?
some cool content, so
I just want to talk about when Konami starts to make like a Leon 2023 time whistle events.
Leon
because
2023.
I mean, in theory, you can
there's
always
an
go up.
undisputed GOAT in there, and also.
You can yeah, you can always go up to like the public event stage, I think, and can ask for that event.
Really?
There's enough people like sign.
It's only Felix that brings them, and Felix is not
Is
showing
that
up.
how it works? Do people just like request that YCS and then be like, "I"?
No, if like 8 people like come to a public event stage, ask, yo, can we play Time Wizard? I don't know.
Oh, you're talking
2020?
about that. I thought. Yeah.
Let's play Time Wizard 2020. Like
Yo,
Vogue Dragon, Eldritch
That's
Emancipator, like Hulk format. Then
maybe
sure, go ahead.
let's do that in the next YCS we all go. We play like we play like our own winner mats with like Leon
Yeah,
format.
we're gonna be the only ones there playing fucking.
At some point, Danilo, I need to bring like 8 times the same tier deck.
Yes.
We can play like
Yeah.
Please,
one for the night.
Katagido. Please, Katagido Futi Inferencing.
All right, I think that sums up the first episode. Next we're gonna talk.
One last thing before we go. I would like to shout out the Blue Ojama gang, Mr. Julian Kahn that got top 4 at the YCS.
Congrats.
So shout out to him. His list was really good. He played really well.
He's a nice
I did
guy.
just want to shout him.
It was very unfortunate.
Yeah,
He got this game on
that,
lock.
that
bro.
game. Oh man, that game.
Yeah.
The memes are funny though. I will never not laugh at one of the Julian memes, but yeah, he definitely did get robbed. Especially when I think he definitely played better than his opponent.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Bro, the fact that he got sharked by his opponent, that Julian got sharked, was crazy to me. Like that was insane.
I mean,
Also,
to
like,
be
they
fair,
have more time.
I mean,
They were both playing slow. I will say that. But.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the opponent like also like threw the game
Oh yeah.
and top deck like a Magnum or something, right?
Hard, bro. It's so
Like,
insane. Like Magnamud, we just like didn't pop cross for some reason. Like there
Oh yeah, too. Like,
I was so pissed.
like he threw the game, then Julian like did some like small misplay, threw the game back, and then opponent just top deck like.
They were just passing each other, bro. They were just-
Crossing the ball competition.
yeah.
And also
Yeah,
took like
it was literally a good
What I'm
throw.
gonna say is at least he didn't forget he was playing Type.
Hey, yeah, true.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I mean, they already had like 60 minutes time, and then they got like another 10 or.
Yeah, they got like a 10-minute time extension on top of that. Yeah.
Mad.
And then he still lost in time. So basically, he played like
Almost
a
two rounds.
75-minute match, and he lost in
It was
time.
not over. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's what Ironmans do to a man, right?
Iron Man's do that. Yeah. I was about to say.
Nah. Big shout out to
Yeah,
Julian
cowboy.
if he sees that. You do very well. Unfortunate that you could not win.
Also, shout out to all the 4 of you that is gonna watch the video that's outside of us.
Oh yeah, true.
You got jump into this and getting this far. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Be on the lookout for the second
I
episode.
need that ad revenue ASAP.
We need to get Amaya to a European YCS. Like
All proceeds. We never discussed that, but all proceeds from the channel go to the GoFundMe for me to go to a European YCS.
Yeah, I think
And the
that.
only problem is that we never have European YCS more than like once a year or something.
Okay, well
times
then
a year.
we have plenty of time to save up. Then, is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
until September. That's like the deadline.
It's like insane. All right, you heard the message. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Be on the lookout for the second episode, and thanks a lot. Bye bye.